Hey everyone, today I'm gonna show you how I managed to make $2,000 in just 1 hour as I was actually sitting in class doing an exam and nothing else. So let me tell you this story. It all happened on the 26th of January, so it's just like a few days ago. And as you know, if you follow me on this channel, I have most of my money invested in the stock market, and that's where this $2,000 came from. I believe it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, and if you don't know, I live in Europe actually, so that's exactly at this time that the stock market opens every single day of the week. And I was actually waiting in line because my exam was gonna start in like 30 minutes, so I was stressed and I was not ready for my exam and stuff like this. And I actually got a notification from my phone telling me that one of the stocks that I was holding was up 35% today. But if you know me, you know that I invest mostly in companies that maybe give sometimes a smaller return, but on the other hand are really safe and really good when it comes to the quality of the business, the sustainability of the business, and pretty much everything that comes with it. Because what I do with my money in the stock market is that I invest over the long term. I'm not really into like short-term speculations and stuff like this, even though we're gonna see a bit later on in this video that it's not really the case. But yeah, that's my main strategy. So yeah, as I said, I'm really not into short-term stocks and, short-term speculations. Except maybe this one stock that was up 35% today. Yeah, okay, I made a few exceptions when it comes to the stocks that I picked because, well, it's great to invest over the long term, have safe results and all that, but sometimes you just want to, take a little bit of risk, but on the other hand, have higher potential. So I grabbed my phone and looked at what was going on, and I was blown away when I saw what was happening today. Beyond Meat, one of the only speculative stocks that I have in my portfolio and also my second biggest investment of all time, I believe, not really sure about this, was up 35% today. But just to make you understand what was going on, I had about $6,500 invested in Beyond Meat, and $6,500 plus 35% is like $10,000. But when I invested into Beyond Meat, it was not really anything speculative or anything short term. I really believe that Beyond Meat over the long term can become one of the biggest, if not the biggest company in the food industry. And if you don't know what Beyond Meat does, well, they make plant-based burgers, vegetarian things, vegan stuff, and I believe that all these things together, especially plant-based meat, are gonna be something that we're gonna see a lot in future years. But when I say that I have a long-term vision, what I mean most of the time is like 20 years from now. So you can see what's really for me a long-term investment. I was really planning for Beyond Meat to become something huge in the future, but in a very long period of time. But I knew that Beyond Meat was gonna be a risky investment and also a bumpy ride all the time, because there are a lot of people that are really speculative about this one. There are a lot of people that really don't believe into this stock and that it's overpriced, so it's moving a lot every single day. But I'm 21 and I was like, if I want to take some risk in the market and my investments, I probably should do it right now, because in the future when I have more money to do it with, I probably would just like to keep it to myself. But why did Beyond Meat go up 35% in just one day? Well, it was a huge news from Beyond Meat and PepsiCo, because if you don't know PepsiCo, well, they don't only make like soda with Pepsi, they also own many other brands, especially snacks, like for example there's Cheetos, Baked, there is Lay's chips, there is Doritos, and a lot more big snacks companies are just owned by Pepsi. So when Beyond Meat, that is a way smaller company than actually PepsiCo, announced that they were going to do a partnership with them to create some plant-based snacks, it was huge news for everybody that was holding Beyond Meat and for everybody that wanted to hold Beyond Meat. PepsiCo is pretty much the biggest player when it comes to snacks in the entire world, so the fact that they announced a partnership with Beyond Meat, that is a pretty new company and relatively small compared to them, was really big. So it brought so much attention to Beyond Meat for new people that were discovering what they were doing and that wanted to invest into them, and also people that were already owning shares of the company wanted to add to this position because it's a big potential for this company. So as I said, as soon as they announced this, the stock price exploded 35% in just a few minutes. So yeah, for me it was the equivalent of more than $2,000 made in just 1 hour, as I was actually not even paying attention to this and I was doing an exam. So what would you have done in this situation? Would you have sold the stocks? Would you have bought more of the stock? Well, what I did is that I just held my position. And you may be asking yourself, why didn't I just take this juicy money just for me? Well, the simple reason is something that you already know. I aim for long-term investments. So I want to be part of the people that were holding Beyond Meat before they blew up, because I know that in the future they're gonna be big. If they start right now having partnerships with PepsiCo and with other big brands, just they did like a few weeks before with Taco Bell, I really believe that Beyond Meat can become the biggest player when it comes to plant-based snacks, food, and whatever else you want to make things with plants, right? And also I want to hold Beyond Meat for a lot of other reasons. For example, they plan on doing a lot of other partnerships with other big companies. For example, there is a rumor, and I believe that it's in discussion at the moment, that they are gonna do something with McDonald's. And if they do it with McDonald's, this stock is just gonna shoot up maybe like 50% in just a day. So how can you recreate something similar by investing into companies? Well, unfortunately, this one that I just spoke about with Beyond Meat was pretty much luck-based, because well, I knew that Beyond Meat was going to become something big in the future, but I didn't have any idea that I was actually going to do a partnership with PepsiCo at the time when I was investing into them. So what you should do when you want to recreate something like this, well, first of all, I never recommend to invest in a company because there are a lot of speculations around it. Maybe they're going to do something, maybe they're going to do something else, right? Never invest in the companies when you have just this idea around it. But if you know that they already have some strong fundamentals like Beyond Meat, they create really good products, they are selling more and more every single quarter, and well, I really believe in the growth of the company, so why not investing into it for the long term? This thing that happened was pretty much luck based. I didn't have any idea that this deal was gonna happen. But if you want to recreate something like this, I would invest into companies that have strong fundamentals, but that have a lot of potential too. But would I recommend investing into companies like these for everyone? Clearly not, because as I said before, it's kind of a risky move. You never know what's gonna happen with the stock, and since it's a pretty new company, it can just go downhill in a second. So if you want safe returns, safe results by investing, I would not recommend going into speculative things like Beyond Meat and other companies that I'm gonna present to you actually just in a few minutes. But rather going into companies like Apple, Microsoft, even Tesla, for example, is safer than these companies. But you know, the fact that I made so much money in such a short amount of time made me realize that there is more than short-term investing into the stock market. You can also invest into other companies that have huge potential and then can just shoot up like this in just a day. Now, I opened myself to start doing a little bit more of these investments myself. So right now, I'm gonna present you a list of 7 investments that I have in my portfolio at the moment that, in my opinion, are some more risky moves, but that on the other hand have huge potential. Now again, keep in mind these are riskier stocks. I would not recommend this to anyone that doesn't want to take a little bit of risk. And also don't forget guys that just invest money that you feel comfortable losing, because you never know what's going to happen with your investments, and if you don't want to take risk, just don't do it. So here are my 7 riskier stocks that I'm holding at the moment. The first one is Beyond Meat. Of course, I just spoke about it. Beyond Meat creates plant-based burgers, plant-based meals, vegan meals and stuff like this. Already spoke about it. It's gonna grow amazing in the future, in my opinion again. Now, the second one is Enphase. And Enphase, if you don't know it, is an energy company that is creating a lot of products around clean energies. And that's already a pretty well-established company because they already have a lot of products, they already have a lot of revenues, and I believe that in the future they can actually grow a lot because of their business. Now, the third one is Etsy. Etsy, I've been investing into it for quite a bit of time right now. I'm almost up 100% on Etsy, but Etsy pretty much is an online marketplace, pretty much like a sort of, you could compare it to some sort of like Amazon almost, not really, but you see where I'm coming from. And I also believe that they're gonna grow amazing in the future because of their business and what it can bring to people. The fourth one is EXPI World Holding, and this one also I've been holding it for quite a bit of time, and there is something that is happening with the stock at the moment while I'm speaking to you, is that the stock is splitting into 2. So we saw with Apple and Tesla that stock splits are actually bringing a lot of attention to some stocks. And actually what happened with EXPI is that I bought it when it was around like $40, which is pretty cheap compared to now. Now it's like $110, and I sold when I was up a little bit more than 100%, but I bought again into it because I believe that they can still grow a lot in the coming years. Well, actually, I didn't even say what they were doing. They are an online broker for real estate, which is pretty hard to explain. Pretty much if you are a real estate agent, well, you don't have to have an office at all. You can just use EXPI and they're just gonna give you a license for you to have pretty much an online office. It's one of these work from home stocks and it's doing amazing since the pandemic started, and that's why I'm still holding him right now. And I also own some GM shares, and GM, in my opinion, is pretty undervalued at the moment. It's one of these big car companies, and pretty recently they merged with another company. Actually, they bought another company that is worth billions of dollars. And I believe that in the coming years, when people are gonna understand that what they did is a big move, the stock is gonna blow up. So right now I'm holding GM. And the next stock I actually bought is called Shift Technology. That's a pretty new stock and a lot of people are not aware of what it is. They're pretty much using AI to make jobs easier with, like, for example, insurance and stuff like this. So it's a startup that was recently added to the stock market publicly, and I believe that Shift is a really good investment for the long term. A little bit more speculative than the others, but right now I believe it's undervalued and we're gonna see in the future what it's gonna do. And now we're gonna speak about the last stock in this list, which is Churchill Capital, CCIV, which you guys probably know as one really risky move. So what is happening right now with this company is that they are planning, and that's only a rumor, we have absolutely no idea if it's true or not, with Lucid Motors. And if they do, this stock is gonna explode in the future. But right now there is no hints at all that this is gonna happen. And if it does happen, the stock is gonna go up like crazy. And if it doesn't, the stock is gonna go down like crazy. So right now this is probably the riskiest stocks I've ever owned. And yeah, we're just gonna see in the future if this deal happens. And if the deal happens, I'm gonna be happy. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be that happy. Now, if you guys want to also earn like $2,000 in just an hour, you can go and watch this video right here. That's gonna explain you everything there is to know on how to start investing yourself. Or you can skip this part and directly go to this video that's gonna explain you how to pick your first stock in the stock market. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.